Clean with me as I discuss the bad habit I discovered had been keeping me from my goals. And let me know in the comments if you've ever struggled with this problem. Stick around until the end where I'll share a few ways to overcome this issue. If you enjoy my content, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Like most people, I analyze and criticize everything. We kind of have to in order to survive and decide what we want to do, be, etc. This, coupled with me being a Virgo, I can be a bit supercharged in the area. In work, I'm extremely thorough and pay meticulous attention to detail on projects and will execute with scrupulous precision, guaranteed. I wouldn't consider myself OCD, maybe a little anxious, which is a common contributor to overthinking, but I digress. The main problem is I often have a clear vision of how things are supposed to be, and I have a hard time deviating from that. Within my household, this analyzing and criticizing is quite annoying for everybody, including myself. I often feel I have to say something about, analyze, and or criticize everything that isn't right or my way, or is going to eat at me until I do. Don't get me wrong, I have done a lot of work around this and have come a long way, but sometimes it tends to creep up on me. But this has been something I've struggled with for years. For a long time, I thought being analytical, critical, and having a keen eye for detail and what wasn't right were great characteristics to have, at least in the workplace. I ensured projects got done on time and well. I was a star employee. Well, all that changed when I became an entrepreneur. There's a quote that says, "Sometimes the worst place to be is in your own head." And I personally found this to be true. Analysis, criticism, and perfectionism led me to severely overthink every aspect of my business, which were now all my decisions to make. These decisions included things like, what was my business niche? What topics would I address within this niche? Who was my target audience? What product would I offer this audience to generate income? How do I get started? When do I get started? Should I use my name or choose a different brand name, etc.? The list goes on. But I would ruminate over these questions to no end, and hardly anything would ever actually get done. This was a classic case of analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis is where you overanalyze or overthink a situation so that a decision or action is never taken. And I ended up learning the hard way that all the answers to what was indecision would have been figured out eventually by taking actions and evaluating the results. But I needed everything to be perfect first, or so I thought, before I could make a move confidently. So I stayed stuck. This overthinking was really procrastination in disguise. During these times, I found that I spent way longer than necessary planning what I wanted to create in my business, but never pulling the trigger because I always found something else I felt I needed to do, learn, or add. In reality, I already had plenty of skills and education that I wasn't implementing, so that wasn't the answer. This busyness that I kept myself consumed with that wasn't really getting me to where I wanted to go is referred to as fake work, which is when you do tasks that may be helpful but not necessary to the end goal. There's a quote by Brian P. Moran that says, "Ideas without execution are irrelevant. If you want to achieve what you are capable of, stop chasing new ideas and focus on execution." I'll give you an example. When I would create another spreadsheet in the guise of getting more organized, but wouldn't use it after a week or two because it really wasn't necessary. But at the time, I felt It was a make or break thing I needed before I could move forward. My time probably would have been better spent making a blog post, developing a product, or making sales calls, ultimately taking action toward my goal. The learning is in the doing. I also followed accounts online and ended up falling victim to the comparison trap. If my content wasn't as good as theirs, even though they obviously had way more experience and time in the game, I wasn't posting. I was bypassing my journey for their destination. What I should have been doing was looking at what they did to get to where they were, their earlier work instead. Overthinking is keeping you from your goals. Secondly, a lot of the accounts I followed weren't wives or soccer, dance, or homeschool moms like me, which guaranteed I would be on a different timeline than the 20-something bachelor that was an entrepreneur since 16 I was watching. I wouldn't sit here and lie and act like I don't still struggle with this, but I have found strategies that help me take massive action when I find myself slipping into this space. But before we get to what I do to avoid getting into this space, let's look at the problems with the common advice given to help overthinking. Number 1, people will tell you to notice when you're overthinking. This is great besides the fact that often, especially in the beginning, when you find yourself overthinking, you're already way down the rabbit hole. But I guess it's better late than never. Number 2, learn mindfulness skills like meditation or practicing being in the moment. This sounds good, but the idea of sitting with my thoughts when they're already running rampant usually exacerbates the issue, not help it. Number 3, practice gratitude. Okay, I'm grateful. Now what? Number 4, practice self-compassion. I empathize with and forgive myself for being an overthinker, but I'm still overthinking. Number 5, embrace the underlying fear that's preventing you from taking action. This one is good, but this can be hard to do on your own, even when you recognize there must be a fear there. From an inside view, it might be difficult to know what that is. I'm not discouraging you from doing these mindfulness practices. They do have their benefits. But if you want to make tangible progress on what overthinking is currently holding you back from, here's advice that actually works. Number 1, get familiar with what you tend to overthink. Make a list if you have to. It's more than likely the same few areas or things. For me, it's usually around making a decision because I don't want to make the wrong one, and or the need for something to feel perfect before I can take action. Figure out your hangups, then commit to taking action. Set a timer, and when it goes off, make a move or action that gets you closer to your goal. In the book 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, she says taking action is as simple as counting backward from 5, then immediately taking the next step. Otherwise, our brain will start to talk us out of it. Number 2, be okay with things not being perfect or even your best work, and move on. We need to gain clarity by taking imperfect action, which we talked about earlier. By doing this, we learn what works and what doesn't. The key is to be okay with knowing it's not the best, but it'll do. And doing something will help you find clarity and make it better next time. Number 3, brain dumping. When our thoughts are cluttered, we usually can't be confident in our decision making. We overthink and procrastinate when we feel unsure. Brain dumping helps get all of our thoughts out of our minds and on paper, where we can organize what's important and get rid of what's not important right now. Number 4, visualizing and journaling. I'm not too good for an old-fashioned metaphysical practice, but unlike the common advice above, these practices need to include tangible steps toward progress. Visualization gives a clear picture of our goal. Journaling helps us find what action steps are needed. With this list of actions, we can figure out which are the next most important to take action on. Number 5, break goals down into digestible pieces. A common problem in our efforts for being productive is that we try to do too much too fast. Then we end up overwhelmed and have a hard time deciding what to do next. We look at the entire staircase instead of the one step we need to take that's right in front of us. We have to break down the goal and conquer it piece by piece, step by step, no matter how small. Number 6, shorten your task list. Having too many to-dos leads to stress and overwhelm. You should only have 1 to 3 tasks that are your priority for the day. Number 7, eat the frog. Do the task you want to do the least first. Do this task at the beginning of the day when you're well rested and sharp. Simply having a plan isn't enough. Now that you're clear about your goals and have a plan you can work, there's another key component you must add to your plan to make it actionable, so you won't end up like me and know the plan but easily deviate when convenient. The secret is to couple your plan with rules for yourself. This can look like whatever you feel will work to motivate you to take action. Here are a few I find helpful. Use if-then scenarios. For example, if my goal is to record a video today, then I will not watch entertainment television, something I enjoy, until I record the video. Here's another one I find helpful. Reward yourself for a job well done. If you stick to your plan for a day, a week, a month, using the steps given in the previous section, reward yourself. Everybody likes a good old incentive. It gives us motivation to do what we need to do. Pick a relevant reward that will help you make what you're doing easier. Sometimes people will make the mistake of rewarding themselves in a way that isn't conducive to their goal. For example, people that reward themselves with a burger when they meet their weight loss goal. Let's choose enjoyable rewards that will continue to benefit our end result. If you need more tips for executing your plans and building better habits, check out the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Be a person that takes action over procrastinating and overthinking. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to also check out this one. Thank you for watching. Until next time, peace.